Hi, it's Michelle from Line Art Studio. This is a piece I just did yesterday, mainly to create this video on lost and found edges. So I'll jump into that. Bear with me, I've got a bit of a cold, sorry. I'm losing my voice a little bit. But here we go. I'm just laying in my base colours. The background, I've already established a bit of a blur on it. I'll just put some colour in to create like a bit of a gardeny sort of look, and then blurred it with the Gaussian blur tool. I'm building my colours. Excuse me. There's a lot of green in the background, so there's quite a lot of green in her skin. The light bounces around and the colour reflects onto the skin. To begin with, I use a hard edged square brush, and all my edges are very hard. I'll blend as I go along, and you can see me doing this. The edges that I'll keep the crispest will be in her face and in her hand where it points back towards her face. This is because it's like a roadmap, more or less, to get the viewer to see what's most important to myself as an artist. Generally in portraiture, that'll be the eyes or the face, some aspect on the face, whether it's the eyes or the lips. When the eyes are visible, it will generally be the eyes. That's the first thing we notice about people when we meet them, is generally people's eyes. It's what you look at and it's what draws you in. So as an artist, to me, that's the most important thing in my portraits. You can see where I'm starting to soften out the strokes a little bit in her neck and chest area. That's because I don't want them to be too strong, too hard. They can be called lost and found edges is the correct terminology, but hard and soft edges is also used a lot. Hard edges are found edges and lost edges are soft edges, or no edge at all. And what I mean by that is the edge can not be visible anymore because it'll be blended into the background. So things like hair can be blended out to be blended right into the background. That's a lost edge. At the back there, behind her hand, there was a little bit of material. I've just blended that out into the background and created a lost edge there. It wasn't important to the scene. I'll do the same with the rear of her head, the hair at the very rear. The hair beside her neck, I blended out, not completely lost, it's a soft edge. And just softened it into the background to create depth. That's the other thing. using edges, it creates a lot of depth in your painting. You can see the front foreground flowers there. I've softened into soft edges. They haven't got a lot of detail in them. And that's because I don't want the viewer to settle there. I want the viewer's eyes to keep moving into the midground where her face is. And then in the background it's soft and blurred out completely pretty much. There's no detail there, just a blur of colours in the background. And you can see in the corner I have the flowers, a bit harder detail, moving up straight into her eyes. It's like a guide going straight into them really. And the same thing with the hand, it's pointing back towards her face. So it's like a street map almost. So I'm keeping those areas highly detailed. Nice crisp edges, because they're pointing straight back into her face. This is just the way I work. I add and remove. I'll add a bit more lighting, some shadow, and then I'll blend it out where necessary. The other reason we use hard edges is to establish a form, the form beneath. Like skin is very soft, yes, but underneath all that skin we have hard bones and muscle, and you need to keep some of the hard edges to establish that structure. The nose, the edges of the nose, they have quite a strong edge because there's a lot of cartilage in the nose. The lips shouldn't be that hard an edge. They should be softened a bit, blended out a little bit, because lips are soft. They're just a change of the melanin. The amount of melanin that's in our skin to our lips is very different, usually. Unless you're using lipstick or you're portraying some lipstick on your character, then you can have a bit of a harder edge. I like to blend out my eyebrows. I don't like them too hard. I think they look a lot more natural when they're blended out a little bit. The hairs look like they're actually coming from in the skin rather than painted on. The highest amount of contrast is generally in the eyes, nose and mouth. Pardon me. The reason for this is inside the nose and the mouth we have cavities, and these cavities create ambient occlusion, which is where the light can't penetrate. So any cavity that's like that and the light's unable to get into it, it will be the darkest. And that's okay, it's still in the face. And the eyes themselves, the pupils, are a natural cavity as well. The pupil is always black and the light goes inside the eye through the pupil to the back of the eye, and that's how we see. So it's actually a cavity, and that's why it is so dark, because although the light penetrates, we can't see it inside that cavity. It bounces off the back of the retina and creates the image for us to be able to see. I didn't like her hair. I thought it was a bit too blondie. Just wasn't the right colour, that's why I've redone it. with that much green in the atmosphere and around her, it just wouldn't have been that yellowy blonde. What else? I know it can be a little bit complicated, but learning to use edges is a really great thing to do in your paintings. And just, just try things out. It's not an actual science where you can say, yes, 5 centimetres from the eyes, you've got to have a soft edge. 10 centimetres away, it should be a completely lost edge. It's where you want the viewer to move through the painting, exactly as I've said. I've kept her fingers crisper than her hand so that those nice hard edges are pointing back into her face. I've kept her chest and her arm soft edges because it's not as important. It's not supporting her face in any way. Now I'm adding a lot of texture. I like to do that afterwards. At the end of my painting, I'll use texture brushes and a soft brush as an eraser and just erase away the bits that I don't want. And yeah, the only other thing I want to say is when you are working, try to keep zoomed out as much as possible, because when you're zoomed in all the time like we are, the tendency is to add more and more details. And you don't want the whole thing detailed out because the viewer's eye doesn't know where to go. It becomes over detailed and over stimulating for the viewer. They need to have these little breaks where they can just rest on the details and then move through the softer areas and then rest on the next detail. And yeah, that's what you're creating. I hope this is helpful. If it's not, I'll come back and do another one when I'm not losing my voice as much and I can concentrate on it a bit better. Just let me know what you think and if it has helped you or not. I hope it has, because I know I've been promising this to you guys for a little while. If you're in Photoshop or Painter, there's a navigator window. You can open that and use that when you're painting. You can zoom in and you have an overview of the whole piece on your navigator, so always do that. And yeah, just think about where you want the viewer's eyes to go to and which areas aren't as important. And yeah, think about using those edges, the soft and hard edges and lost edges, to get that feeling that you want. Thank you for watching. And yeah, hope everyone's staying safe and just creating and enjoying themselves as much as possible in these trying times. We're lucky that we do have our art to keep us happy and keep working. Thanks for watching. Take care.